Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be kind of short, and that's because I just talked about the system yesterday, but I want to give a little bit of an update based on the latest model runs, just because there is an interesting development with this system. Of course, we are talking about now Tropical Storm Sam, which is right here on the map and is going to be passing by the Lesser Antilles throughout the day, probably Saturday, Sunday. So, as we move through Friday and into Saturday and Sunday, even into Monday, the storm does intensify into a Category 2 or 3 hurricane. Now, it does stay east of Bermuda, and Bermuda should just see some high surf, some gustier than normal winds, but no severe rainfall, no storm surge, none of the huge impacts that would be at the core of the storm. It's going to be very far outside of the center, maybe an outer rain band or two. But the storm, because of this strong high pressure out here in the eastern Atlantic, and a weaker one out here in Maine, has to start going west. And that's where we see this storm start to tuck into the little, let's call it a cove in this instance, but although it is much larger than a cove, it just tucks itself into the Gulf of Maine just a little bit, where areas of the Northeast could see some storm surge, especially areas that poke out into the ocean, which we do see in the Northeast quite often. So, let's take a look here, and if I could find it, boom, significant wave height. Cape Cod, Maine, even possibly parts of Long Island could see some significant wave peaks, but mostly we are looking at a very rough time on the coastlines of Maine and Massachusetts. These yellows and reds are 10 feet plus of wave height. So, while it is tucked into that little nook there, we could see some significant waves. And in this instance, the storm does pass by Nova Scotia, and they could see probably 30-foot waves from this. So, it is something that we do have to continue to look at. And that is the first weekend of October. This would be an extratropical low at this point, but a very strong one at that. So, I think the last time something like this happened, probably last year with hurricane, well, at that time, extratropical storm Teddy, that moved up through Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Now, it wasn't as strong as this would be. 958 millibars is insanely strong, but it was fairly strong, and it did cause some significant wave heights as well as some windiness along the shorelines. So, in terms of other impacts, there really isn't much. So, total accumulated precipitation before this to afterwards is very minimal. You can see the storm goes through there, so maybe a little bit of rain in Maine, but that's pretty much it. So, there's really not much there in terms of actual wind, or let's actually look at the wind. So, actual windiness directly from the storm, there's not much. So you can see maybe some tropical storm force winds as it's approaching along the shoreline, but really not much in terms of wind, not much in terms of rain. This is more of a possible rip current threat on this side of New England here, such as parts of Long Island, southern Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, as well as some significant waves coming along the shore of Maine, the very small coastline of New Hampshire, and eastern Massachusetts, including Cape Cod. Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard would get hammered by this if this does happen. Now, albeit, this does show October 3rd. So, we are well out from this actually occurring, so things do change. But if this does happen, it would be pretty significant for the Northeast. But that's all the information that I have to update at this time. Stay here for any updates on Sam. I will be trying to provide as much information on this storm as possible, especially if it does get into a close encounter scenario with the United States or Canada. So stay tuned here. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe and click the bell to make sure that you never miss one of these updates. So what do you think is going to happen with this storm? Comment in the comment section down below. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.